Hey everybody, I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. I thought I'd get outside the house and do a video in between bands of rain here. We've been getting a good bit of rain the last couple or 3 days. Just a little bit of the very outskirts of that storm that recently hit Texas and Louisiana as well. But just for us, it's just rain. It's just rain, and we haven't really gotten that much. We've maybe gotten 3 inches or so over the past few days, so no danger, no anything here. Anyhow, today's topic is Simple Raw Vegan Plan to Succeed. I do videos every day, so if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate if you'd hit that subscribe button now. Click on that little bell and check send notifications so you will stay subscribed to the channel. Just starting to settle back in. This is Thursday. Got back on Monday from Woodstock Fruit Festival, and kind of easing back into my routine, kind of getting some organizational things done right now. And Monday is the date. I'm kind of setting up with some topics for my blog. I'm going ahead and getting ahead and having some topics for YouTube videos, and then I get to working on the books Monday. Hope you guys like this shirt. I didn't do too bad for my first time. This was my first attempt at tie-dye, and I made it at the Woodstock Fruit Festival. And as I've mentioned, I'm going to be doing tie-dyes too in my little burgeoning shirt empire. So I'm going to be making tie-dye with these hands, and I'll be printing on some of it, but I'll just be letting it go like this and trying out some different designs, different methods, different colors. Anyhow, let me make sure my notes aren't going to blow away here before I take off. Before I get started, this is not like one of those, when you hear plan, a lot of people get their notebooks out. They want somebody to tell them step by step by step. How do you do this? Well, okay, this is exactly how many calories you need to take in during the day. This is the exact breakdown of high water content fruit to bananas, that you need this many greens. I'm here to talk more about the process and how to figure out how to do this raw vegan lifestyle. And I can't give you details because your details are your details. I don't live in your situation. I maybe don't have your challenges. You don't have my challenges. We maybe don't have the same thing available to us food-wise, and for any number of reasons. We might have different purposes for doing this. So you've got to be proactive, and you have to figure out the details part of it. And part of that will start the whole process of you doing it, you figuring it out, taking responsibility for this, and making a reason for yourself to do it will be your why. And you have got to know your why, and you've got to be strong with that why, because when you truly know why you're doing this, it makes more sense. Like I said, if somebody just wrote a book, here's how to be raw vegan, and you're just tooling through there following what somebody else is telling you, you just don't have that motivation of building this thing from the ground up because of your way. So know your why. Every time you start to waver, that why is going to be what you can use to reinforce yourself. So know your why. Your environment. Your environment is really important, especially, and some of these things I'll be talking about, they're especially important in the early stages, but depending on how you live, I would say you're going to want to clean your environment up, probably permanently. Maximize it. And maximize it the best you can in your circumstances. A lot of times they say out of sight is out of mind, and that seems rather simple, but it can be very true. Now, as I'm mentioning this, I know it's funny. I know I have a lot of people that watch my videos, and I'm pretty sure that the wheels are going, and each little point that I ever come up with on how you'll be able to make this easier for you, your brain goes to how you can figure out why that won't work for you. Well, we all live in our own circumstances, and in your environment. See, when I went raw vegan, I had total control of my environment. You might not have that, so you have to do everything I ever talk about is for you is based on your circumstances. You do the best that you can in your circumstances. We can't compare my circumstances and your circumstances, or this guy down the street or this person over in this country. Yours are yours. So I think the principles still apply. You just might not have as much control as I do or somebody else does. So control those circumstances. You know, get the garbage out of the house as much as possible. If you're living by yourself, or if you're living with somebody else that's doing this with you, get it all out of the house. Out of sight, out of mind. And when you're and then replace it and keep plenty of good stuff around the house. A lot of this lifestyle, I'm telling you, it's about ease and efficiency. Ease and efficiency. If good stuff is around, you will reach for the good stuff. You will just instinctively reach for the good stuff. You'll keep yourself filled with the good stuff, and you won't worry about the other. I'm kind of on this high still from Woodstock last week. I ate even way cleaner than I normally do, because it was there. It was there. You know, I've been eating cooked food a little bit intermittently when I was in the States. But you know what? I never had one moment of desire while I was at Woodstock to eat a bite of cooked food. Didn't even remotely come into my head. Why? Because there was so much good stuff there. There wasn't other stuff available, and what I was seeing was some of the best of the best, which that helps a little bit too. But maximize your surroundings. And hey, if you can't, if you have family, if you have roommates, if you just simply can't completely clean your area, then you almost have to partition your mind. You have to partition your mind, because I've done this too, but it's a little bit easier sometimes when you're not necessarily living with close family or whatever, because that really is their food, you know, so you can't steal your roommate's food or somebody else's food. But even so, you can kind of partition your mind to thinking, this is my food, this is not my food. So when you see that stuff that somebody else has in the kitchen, just immediately, the second you see it, don't even start lingering, don't start wanting. That's not my food, and I'm not going to steal somebody else's food. And even better to say, I don't eat that. That's not food. That might even help you the most. Now here's another one that, you know, how bad do you want to go raw vegan? How bad do you want to embrace a different lifestyle, a healthier lifestyle? I would say, you know, people are always talking about how this is tough from the social aspect. This is tough going out to eat with others. This is tough eating with family and friends. And once again, like cleaning up your environment, I know for many people, you don't have a solitary situation like this, so it's easier said than done. But you can still, I think, to a certain extent, okay, what I'm getting at here is a lot of times when people quit smoking, when people quit drinking, when somebody quits smoking, they tend to stay away from other people that smoke, or being around situations where smoking is going to go on, or being around any situation that brings up those temptations of smoking in the beginning. The same with drinking. You know, people when they stop drinking, it's probably not the best idea for the average person. You know, you've given up drinking, you've stopped drinking, to go out to the bar on the weekends with your friends, or go into parties at your friend's house or whatever, and just saying, well, I can go socialize and I can, you know, have a club soda or whatever. Now, you might, I'm talking a lot about the beginning. Now, you're not going to always want to turn off your social life, you know, just because you've come to this lifestyle, and it may be the healthiest lifestyle on the planet. We won't argue with that, whether it is or not, but even if it's the most healthy lifestyle on the planet, you still have family, you still have friends, you want to socialize with them, and I understand that. But, you know, in the big picture of things, what if you do have to kind of sequester yourself for a month, 2 months? I mean, you know, come on. Nobody's gonna, sometimes people, I think, believe that they are the catalyst of their little groups of whatever. Mostly, and there could be exceptions to that, nobody's going to fall apart because you don't show up at an event, or you're not there for some social function, or there to eat with somebody. So in the beginning, do what you got to do. Think of yourself like sometimes like people that are quitting smoking do, you know, or people that are quitting drinking. Be selfish. It's okay to be selfish in the beginning, and be honest with people. Just say, hey, you know, I'm adapting to a healthier lifestyle, and it's easier for me just for a little while here as I'm transitioning over to it, you know, not to be out socializing and not to be eating out all the time. I mean, you know, I don't really know what to tell you. Sometimes people are talking about it, and I kind of pick up the drift, like, well, you're trying to go out, you're trying to, not even just a rare occasion, but you're trying to go out with your friends, your family, or whatever, to eat or to socialize 3 or 4 times a week. And you're going to have probably some pretty strong willpower and a lot of tricks if you're going to try to, you know, do that. while you're, you know, adapting and trying to get off some of the bad foods and the bad habits you're trying to get off of. Fill yourself up with as much good whole plant-based foods as possible. And you know, somebody always wants to play the devil's advocate, and I don't know how everybody's mind works, how everybody's body works, but pretty much if you just stay full, you're okay. I mean, I can like some of these things that I talk about, I don't necessarily struggle with them, but I can feel enough of little subtleties to give me something that I can share. Like I have days, like I can't remember if it was yesterday. I know I had one earlier today where I'd gone to the gym, I got to working, and I needed to eat, and I kind of kept stretching it a little bit. And even though I'm not going to get out there and get wild and do something, as I got further on, as I got more and more hungry, my mind did start just kind of going to things like, okay, well, maybe you could eat this, maybe you could eat that, maybe you could do something different today. And then all I did was I just went and cut myself up a bowl of mangoes and bananas, and I sat there and ate them, and I was fine. So it's almost like crowding the bad habits out. It's almost like that's just like a crude, you know, a way of putting it, but you just like bum rush those bad habits or the bad things about eating. You know, if you're not, instead, like I like to focus on the positive more so than the negative, instead of focusing on what you're not going to be eating, what you can eat. Just focus on what you can eat and eat plenty of it, especially in the beginning. Don't worry, you know, if you're just new to this lifestyle, don't worry about eating too much. If you're switched over to a raw vegan lifestyle, most people 99% of people have the opposite problem. You know, they can't figure out how much they need to eat. So eat, and eat good stuff. That's why I always advocate starting early in the morning. Listen, if you want to get into this intermittent fasting later on, or if you're of the opinion, oh, it's better to wait until later in the day, so be it. I can't say. You might be right on that. I've heard a lot of good evidence to back that up. But you're new to this lifestyle. You don't need to be sitting around in the morning letting yourself get hungry. If you're new to this lifestyle, no, you don't need to be waiting until 10 or 11 o'clock to have your first meal. You know what? If that's your belief and you think that's best, you know, to wait later in the day, get the lifestyle down, and then you can do it. But you need to figure this out and be able to do it. You can't get into the next level stuff when you're not even on a raw vegan lifestyle yet. So eat plenty of food, eat plenty of whole fresh food. As I'm always saying, research and learn on your own, you know, and verify everything. Don't just take anybody's word for all that, because you're gonna be, if you're new to the lifestyle especially, or if you're not and you've just been struggling, you can relate. You can be bombarded, and you can get a little bit overwhelmed, and you can get a little bit like, oh my God, you know, this person's telling me this person's telling me that. What do I do? I'll tell you what you do. Listen to everybody and go out and research and verify what they're all telling you, and then see which one of them makes sense to you. That's what I do with everything. A lot of times, whether I'm writing an article, or maybe sometimes if I'm researching for a video, I'll search a topic in, say, Google or YouTube, and I like to go watch, and I don't watch whole videos, I can't do that much prep for these videos, but I like to go watch at least little snippets of different videos, and I like to read things, and I like to get different sides. I like to get like sides that really are far apart, and they really argue with each other. But you know, take it all in. Do your research. The more you become an active researcher in the beginning, it sets your process, and you're able to understand this a little bit better, I guess is the only thing I can say. You know, I'm not the most diligent researcher in the world, but every time I see something that just doesn't, you know, just makes me think, I wonder about that, I have to go check it out. And I take responsibility, you know, for that, because, I mean, in the end, it's me putting my food into my mouth, and everything I put into my mouth has consequences for my body, not anybody else's body out there. So be your own researcher. Just kind of a note, but it's the same as eating a lot of good fresh whole foods. Just keep yourself satiated. Keep yourself satiated, and keep yourself satiated with different taste. You know, sometimes people aren't ready to go totally sweet in the beginning or eat all sweet meals. You know, you have that savory meal in the evening. That savory meal in the evening is so important on this lifestyle to so many. You know, some people get to that point where they're eating sweet all day, and you know, that's cool. That's neither here nor there. But for most people that are coming from a standard American diet, or even that are coming from sometimes, you know, vegan diets or what another version of this lifestyle, they're just used to you know, they need that. They're used to meals that are a little heavier, a little bit more dense, you know, like the lasagnas and tacos and things like that. So sometimes we need something a little bit heavier in the evening. Not necessarily heavy as you know, as meaning, you know, fat necessarily, a lot of fat in there, but just something good and dense, and something that's not, you know, all so sweet. But so mix it up a little there. Blah blah blah. Oh, and here's one that's just very basic. Like I say, all of these things I try to share are basic. Like, this is the most common of common sense, but apply them and they'll work. Get rid of the bug landing on me. Get rid of the processed food as much as possible. And since some people take you literally, no, we're all going to eat something that's processed to some extent. When I'm talking about, when I generally on this channel, or when I'm sharing about processed food, I'm talking about the stuff that you take the box, or you take the container, you take the bag, and you look on the side, and there's at least 10, 12, 15 ingredients, and there's at least 4 or 5 in there that you can't even pronounce. You couldn't even come close to pronouncing. That's what I'm talking about on the processed food, and that's what I'm talking as the opposite of eating whole foods. You know, foods that come from nature, a mango, a banana, an apple. If you're still, you know, if you're transitioning, or if you still eat cooked, even potatoes, a sweet potato, that's a whole food. But eat whole foods, and don't eat so much of this processed stuff. You know, but hey, it is what it is, and you are where you are, and you might have to learn to use that in the beginning, just depending on how much you're struggling or where you are. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of this packaged vegan products, even if it is clean and even if it is raw. I'd rather just, you know, simple stuff, fruits during the day. You know, my diet, you see it. I do what I eat videos all the time. I do it constantly on Instagram, showing what I'm eating, and for me it is just simple. I want to make sure this tripod doesn't blow over and shatter my camera. For me, it's just about eating lots of whole fruits. Like today, I've had bananas and mangoes. I've had a green smoothie. So I eat a lot of fruits. I balance that out with my green smoothies, and then in the evening it's salads, but not always salads. Make your salads fun. I do zoodles. Lately I've gotten a little bit more inspired since I've come back from Woodstock, you know, but it's always whole foods. Like last night, a big salad of red leaf lettuce, and I spiralized a zucchini or two, and I spiralized a cucumber. No, I chopped up my cucumber into little cubes, and I chopped up some beets, and all whole foods. Made a nice natural dressing to go with that, and that is very satiating. And when I'm living like this, I'm telling you, I'm vibrating right now. When there's not, listen, I'll finish it off like this as a good example. If you once you get that little bit of a spark, once you get that feel, it's kind of like gaining momentum, gaining a roll. If you can just do this for a little while, think of it like that. I mean, if you've quit smoking, let me keep going back to that. If you've quit smoking, you know it can be really tough in the first week, 2 weeks, month. Sometimes people struggle longer, but once you break loose, it's easier. It's easier, you know. So it'll be the same way with this. Just keep eating cleaner and cleaner and cleaner until you get to a point where, and then goes back to not keeping other stuff around that you shouldn't have around, and not putting those temptations around. You get to a point where you just like, why would I eat something else? You know, I came back from Woodstock, having eaten, you know, just some of the best fruit in the world for a week, eating a lot of it, eating mostly fruit, just salads at night, not eating a bite of cooked, not even having cooked options. And, you know, normally I got to Pensacola on Monday, and I would have thought, You know, I even wondered what was going to happen when I got there. Okay, now I'm here, so I could eat a little bit of something else. Do I go to my vegan restaurant? I was wondering, am I going to get that urge to go to my vegan restaurant and eat something that's heavier, eat something that's cooked, eat something that is not super clean after coming back from where I had been. Got to town, I'm like, no, I just don't want to do that. So I went to my little store there, it's kind of a co-op juice bar, grocery, and I had a salad and a smoothie. And like I say, I have no, you know, conditions on myself or whatever. I'm not restricting, and I will. I know for a fact that I will eat some cooked food soon because it's just, you know, it's efficient, it's convenient, because I can't get I can't get the amount of raw food. I just don't have access to it all the time like I did in Costa Rica, so I'll eat it. But so far I'm just not having that feel to do it, and that tells me something. You know, you get yourself a little bit cleaner and that desire goes away. So anyhow, I know that was kind of a hodgepodge there, not terribly organized, but just a bunch of different tricks. It's always about finding another trick, finding a trick, getting there. But you've got to be active in doing it. You've got to be active in doing it. If you want to be raw vegan, you're going to be raw vegan. I mean, it's as simple as that. So it's almost like setting your mind. And if you're going to say, well, I can't be raw vegan where I am, and it's absolutely very, very tough to be raw vegan, well, then you're going to be whatever you're going to be, and just decide that and be happy with it. But do that highest version of raw that you can. We're going to talk about you know, options and kind of tricks and whatever as we're going into, a lot of people will be going into winter pretty soon. But anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.